Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Radio channel, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and, of course, the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and to find out the schedule for the X-Zone Broadcast Network, where you can listen 24/7, 365 to some of the greatest shows right here on the radio, visit www.xzbn.net. Now, for all the programming that is available on Simul TV, we are channel number 21. And just go to www.simultv.com. And I must say that Steve Turner and Clay and Jonathan Reed and Nick at Simul TV are just doing a fantastic job. Right now, there are a potential 265 million people who, thanks to our good friends at Simul TV, can actually watch and listen to the X-Zone Radio TV show as well as the X-Zone TV channel. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is Eric Altman. He's a good friend of the X-Zone. I've had the pleasure of having this young gentleman on the show a number of times over the years. He's a cryptozoologist with a specific study of hair-covered bipedal primates such as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Eric has a combined 39 years of study of this phenomenon with over 22 years of field research and investigation into the Sasquatch Bigfoot mystery. Eric is the former director of the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society and is the founder and current director of Pennsylvania Cryptozoology Society. Eric also considers himself a paranormal enthusiast and follows all things strange and unusual. So we're going to find Eric all over the place during the 2020 elections, because I guarantee you they're going to be strange and unusual. Just watching the news feeds today, it seems the world, when it comes to politics, is just going to hell in a handbasket, whether it's in Canada, the United States, or even in the United Kingdom. But that's for another show, another day, another topic. Joining me now is Eric Altman. And Eric, welcome back to the X Zone. Nice having you with us, my friend.
Rob, it's great to be back and good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
It certainly has. And one of the topics that people still talk about, in fact, I'd put it as one of the top 3 paranormal topics, is Bigfoot. And I've got a lot of respect for you Bigfoot researchers, because you guys actually go out there day, night, summer, winter, spring, fall. You're actually getting out there and doing the investigative work that a lot of other groups within the paranormal communities really don't do. So kudos to you and the Bigfoot people.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I personally like to keep boots on the ground and out there following up cases and leads and being more proactive than reactive as far as research is concerned. I think that's the only way we're going to solve this mystery.
How did you get involved in the Bigfoot search and the quest to find this very elusive primate?
Well, that goes way back to my childhood, back to 1980. I was a fan of all things strange and unusual growing up as a kid, of course, and I fell in love with 2 movies that were released in the early 70s, those being The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Oh, yeah.
The film about Falk, Arkansas, and the Falk Monster, and Creature from Black Lake, right across the state line over in Caddo Lake in Texas, and just fell in love with those movies, became intrigued about the possibility of some kind of hair-covered creature roaming swamps and forests in the deep south. And I began to educate myself at that point and was surprised to learn that there were sightings that took place all over the globe.
Yeah.
Right in my backyard in Pennsylvania, so that kind of got me hooked.
Tell me, have you had a Bigfoot encounter? Have you seen a Bigfoot? Have you heard a Bigfoot?
Well, I can't honestly say if I've heard a Bigfoot or had a Bigfoot encounter or even seen a Bigfoot. I've experienced some strange things out in the forest and heard sounds that I can't explain that possibly were a Bigfoot, but I didn't see the animal that was responsible for making that strange sound or throwing rocks in my direction or hitting wood on wood out in the forest. I've had multiple unusual encounters in the forest, but to say honestly that it was a Bigfoot, I can't say that because I didn't see the animal.
There are a lot of people who've spent a lot of time in the quest for the ultimate proof that Bigfoot does exist. Lauren Coleman, for one. What kind of proof, what kind of physical proof has actually been collected over the years that would substantiate any claims that Bigfoot really does exist?
Well, I don't think there's anything out there that proves that Bigfoot truly does exist. I think there's evidence that has been collected over the years that warrants further study of the subject and for scientists to get involved and start taking the subject matter seriously so we can get good definitive proof. But over the years, there have been footprints casted. There's been unusual hairs collected that the DNA yields an unknown specimen or something that can't be matched with what's currently in the DNA genetic bank. Strange and unusual audio sounds have been recorded that don't match any known animals that a lot of people listen to and say sound closely resembling a primate, but nothing really definitive has been captured to really prove this animal certainly does exist.
Then why do you and thousands of Bigfoot researchers across the United States and Canada still go out on weekends and every time you have an opportunity to go out, spending your own money on updating equipment? What are you hoping to find if, after all these years, nothing's been found yet?
That's a question I ask myself daily, Rob. In all sincerity, I go out there because it's a mystery, and it's a mystery that's been around for hundreds of years that dates back to our native ancestors, and it's a global phenomenon. Like I said, it's something that's going on globally. I could see if it was located to one specific region, then possibly there could be more folklore, more stories, more falsity rather than truth to the legend. But I really think there is something to it. There's so many people from all backgrounds of life, all demographics, that are seeing something and reporting something, very credible eyewitnesses that even come from law enforcement, the military, from high positions in the status. So there are people that are seeing something, and we are collecting some circumstantial or anecdotal evidence that does show that there is something that is creating this evidence. And I feel that it's my responsibility for my own personal benefit to get out there and try to make some sense of it, to try to see if there's anything to the mystery.
A lot of people that I've talked to recently are starting to put Bigfoot into the interdimensional aspect of reality, as well as a lot of people are putting Bigfoot with UFO sightings. What is your take on that? You yourself are a researcher, you're a former talk show host. Where does all this fit in? Are they just building sensationalistic claims, or, in your opinion, is there a connection?
Well, to be honest with you, I really don't know if there is a connection or not. I personally have not seen a connection. I've talked to eyewitnesses who've claimed things that make you kind of scratch your head and wonder if there's more to the phenomenon that we're really able to understand.
Right.
But I've never seen any kind of evidence or anything to back up the possibility of the theories that this thing is interdimensional or comes from UFOs. I work very closely with, you probably know Stan Gordon, a local researcher who does UFO and Bigfoot research. I've worked with him for a long, long time, and he and I have lengthy discussions about it, and he's seen cases and talked to witnesses who've experienced high strangeness when it comes to Bigfoot, whether it's a UFO seen at the same location, either months, days, weeks before the Bigfoot sighted, or after, or the Bigfoot sighted before, vice versa.
Right.
And he seems to think there might be something more to it than just a flesh and blood creature. I'm not necessarily convinced that's the case, as I haven't seen enough evidence yet to support that. But you're right, there are people that are tending to lean towards that possibility that this creature may be interdimensional or have some kind of extraterrestrial ties.
Eric, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our first break. But before we do, let our listeners know how they can contact you if they would like to report a Bigfoot sighting, or if they'd just like to find out more information about you and the work you do.
Well, you can contact me through my website, which is ericaltman.net. Or if you go on Facebook and type in Eric Howard Altman, you can pull up my Facebook page and reach me through that as well. All
right. It's that plain. It's that simple. And Eric Altman and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue. How should I say this? Investigating? Coming up with hypotheses about Bigfoot? What is a Bigfoot? I'm sure there are many people listening around the world tonight who are saying for the first time they've heard about Bigfoot. So when we come back, Eric and I will... Well, Eric will explain to you what Bigfoot is. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Eric Altman is my guest this hour. www.ericaltman.net is his website. And we're talking about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. He has so many names, it depends on where in this world. And before I get myself into trouble with the lady listeners, he or she, there you go. And Eric, how would you describe Bigfoot?
Well, Bigfoot is an enigma. I think that's the best way to describe Bigfoot.
Love it.
It's a fascinating subject that's been around in pop culture, in history, in legend, in lore, campfire tales that go back hundreds of years. You can find newspaper articles dating back to the 1800s. As I mentioned earlier, our native ancestors have stories and tales in their tribal lore of them coexisting or revering this animal. I think the best way to describe Bigfoot is based on what the eyewitnesses tell us. It's some kind of bipedal creature, thought to be primate related, whether it's a missing link or like an ancestor or probably maybe a hybrid offspring of humans, Homo sapiens. We really don't know what it is, but based on the description, it walks upright like a man. It's covered head to toe in hair, except for the facial area, sometimes the chest, the palms and palms of its hands and feet are usually void of hair. The height ranges anywhere from 6 feet, and I've heard reports as high as tall as 12 feet tall, maybe taller. This is a very large creature, estimated to weigh anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pounds. Very muscular, very fast. And apparently it has an ability to disappear very quickly into the forest once it's spotted or witnessed. We really don't know much about the creature other than what eyewitnesses tell us and what people who have seen the creature tell us. It would be fantastic to have one of these specimens live so we could study it and examine it and learn its behaviors, its traits, its eating habits, what it does and what it is. But unfortunately, at this point, all we have are the eyewitness information, a few videos that have been released over the years that are still in question, photographs that are blurry and in question, the footprints that I discussed earlier, and some cases of hair that's been collected. That's really all the information we have on Bigfoot.
Now, you were talking about finding hair that, when analyzed, the DNA could not be established or it came up as unknown. Have other samples of hair been found around the world believed to be Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or Yeti, or whatever name it goes under in that geographic area? And have the results been the same?
In some cases, yes. There have been some researchers submit hair samples which have come up as unknown or primate related. I know there was several studies done a few years ago where DNA was collected. Several samples were collected and submitted to different geneticists and folks that were studying the DNA. And some came back as common wildlife. Some came back as having a human female part of the DNA and an unknown male part of the DNA. So there's been studies done over the years, and a lot of them have yielded different results.
With all the people, not only you find Bigfoot researchers that are out in the forests during the summer months, you've got campers, you've got hikers, you have Boy Scouts, Girl Guides, you've got the U.S. Forestry Service, you've got game wardens. How come, or why would you speculate the reason is that no one has taken that smoking gun of a picture yet?
Well, my personal belief is that usually when a sighting occurs, now let's face it, everybody has cell phone cameras now, or cameras on them. My personal belief is when someone has a sighting of this creature, their first initial reaction is shock or surprise, and by the time they get their camera out, they're focused and pointed at the creature. That creature's either moving away very quickly and not standing still to pose for a picture, and it's gone, and they don't have the time or the awareness to take a good picture. I think if we had some kind of system set up, and there are people that do put game cameras out there, but they're not catching anything. But if there was somebody out there with a steady camera on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that could continually monitor an area with known Bigfoot activity, a hotspot, if you will, then maybe we might see some results. But with all those folks out in the forest, you'd think they'd catch something. And there are videos being released to the various social media sites that are questionable, because let's face it, today's age, special effects, costumes, computer CGI ability, it's all available at the general public's fingertips to hoax things pretty easily. So it remains questionable. But I think there are some pretty interesting films that have been captured over the years, like the Patterson-Gimlin film still stands the test of time after 50-plus years. But no one's been able to debunk it.
Isn't that, depending on who you talk to, whether or not it's, within the cryptozoological societies and Bigfoot research societies, that, it all depends on who you talk to about the Gimlin film, whether it's legitimate or if it's a hoax.
Right, and it hasn't been proven to be legitimate, and it hasn't been debunked. And so you're absolutely right. There's so many different opinions on the film, but unfortunately that's the clearest image of what could be a Bigfoot that we have to really study. Now, there's been others that have been put out there, but they don't have the detail that the Patterson-Gimlin film does.
There was a TV show out a couple of years ago, maybe a couple of years on, try 15, 20 years ago. Harry and the Andersons, I believe it was.
Yes.
John Lithgow and, this massive Bigfoot. Was that a plus for the Bigfoot Society and the Bigfoot researchers, or was that kind of them poking fun at the work that you guys are doing?
I don't think it was poking fun at the work we're doing. I think it was a lighthearted look at the subject matter. It was a family-based movie, as we know. Yeah. And it was fun. I don't think they were taking pot shots at anybody in particular. I think they were just having fun with the subject, making a wholesome family fun movie for everybody to enjoy. And it is what it is. I don't think it really bolsters our research and helps us, but I don't think it hurts us.
I often wonder if that's where the association of Bigfoot to UFOs comes in, because, the series with John Lithgow ran for, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. And then he did, Third Rock from the Sun, where he was an extraterrestrial. So I'm serious when I say I wonder if this is where the crossover came from, because, Eric, you and I well know that people believe what they see on TV and what they see on the Internet. Not everybody, yes. Thank God, it's the minority, but, who knows?
Yeah, they do. A lot of folks do take for granted what's on TV and believe it as the gospel truth. Not everybody does, fortunately, but there are some that do. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'd like to agree with you about Lithgow, but the whole idea, the concept of Bigfoot and UFOs maybe having some kind of symbiotic relationship goes way back to the 1970s. You can find stories and articles from various researchers that talk about these kinds of cases that have happened. Again, I don't know if there's any connection to it or not. I personally don't think there is, but those cases are out there.
You know, I was listening to, we have a new channel. It's called the, what's it called? Old Time Radio Network. And I was listening on the way in here in the car. There was, I think it was either Dimension X or Space Patrol. I can't remember what was on. And there was, now these are going into the 50s, 1950, 1951, 1952. And there was an episode where a UFO landed and a Bigfoot got out. And I'm saying, my gosh, is this synchronicity? Eric's coming on the show tonight. We're talking about Bigfoot, so I thought I'd throw it at you. But there are other hoaxes that are being perpetrated. I remember the Bigfoot in the freezer.
Yes.
Now, who was that? Tom Biscardi? I think so.
He was one of the players involved in that, but that was actually Rick Dyer. And there was another gentleman who was a police officer in Georgia at the time, and his name escapes me. But there were two young men who perpetrated the hoax that they had shot and killed a Bigfoot in northern Georgia in the mountains, and they put it in a freezer, and they went public with it. I think we actually talked about it on your show before.
I think so, yeah.
And, Tom Biscardi got involved, and some say he was actually the mastermind behind it, although I've never seen any proof to say that he was or not. A lot of people theorize that he was involved with it, but he was a participant in the actual production as far as getting the story out to CNN and Fox News and that major news press conference they had in Palo Alto, California when they did that back in 2008. But I don't know if he was behind it or not, but he was one of the players involved in as far as the news media was concerned.
We don't hear about him anymore. I wonder what he's doing.
He's still around. He still does his radio show, and he still travels the country with the moniker that he's the world's best Bigfoot hunter. So he's still around.
Hey, I'd love to ask him, if you're the world's best Bigfoot hunter, how come you haven't caught one yet?
A lot of people ask that question, Rob.
All right, Eric, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our news break, and Exo Nation Eric Altman is our special guest. And if you'd like to find out more about Eric, his website is www.ericaltman.net. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. This is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and Simul Radio and Simul TV. Eric and I return after this break. Don't go away. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. No matter where you are on this great big planet of ours, there's always people talking about this big Bigfoot. And I have to ask you, Eric, how come there's never been the body of a Bigfoot found anywhere to prove that Bigfoot is real?
Well, I really think, Rob, there's a couple reasons for that. One, I think, as we all know, an animal that dies in the wilderness, whether it be a deer, a bear, a mountain lion, any kind of animal, a raccoon, within 7 to 10 days, that animal is decomposed and it's eaten and scattered by other animals, other predators in the forest. Otherwise, we'd be tripping over dead bear, deer, and raccoon every time we went out in the forest. We'd be finding bones everywhere, but you don't. You find them occasionally when you go out, and it's very rare even to find bear bones. There's a theory that's been passed around for a long time among certain researchers that Bigfoot has a social structure, much like humans, where they actually bury their dead. They not necessarily have a funeral service per se, but they bury their dead under rocks and ground and dirt and stuff like that, so it makes it difficult to find any kind of bodies. And there's another theory that's been floating around for a while that they possibly have they go off to like an elephant graveyard, if you will, very deep, remote into the forest to die. And that might be a reason why we don't necessarily find any kind of remains. They may go so far into a remote area where people don't go to die. And unfortunately, that's the best answers that I can offer at this point, because if we had a body, if we had part of a body, I think this mystery would have been solved many, many years ago.
What do we know about Bigfoot's social life?
It seems to be very much along the lines of primates, such as chimpanzees or even gorillas. They seem to have a family structure, and if there are these creatures out there, they do exist, and they've been around for hundreds of years. They have to have a breeding population. So there have been reports that have been submitted over the years of people claiming they've seen a family unit, a large male, a female, and an offspring, juvenile creatures. So that's one thing that we are kind of speculating about and taking from the eyewitness statements, that they do have a family structure. We don't believe, and I'm just using that term believe because, it's a hypothesis or a speculation. We don't believe that they use modern tools like humans do, such as fire or tools to hunt or to build things.
But if they use, I've heard where Bigfoot sounds as if it's hitting a tree with something. Isn't that considered a tool if he's using it to create communication?
I guess it could be considered using it as a tool. I don't know of any reports of people actually seeing a Bigfoot hitting a tree, so I can't say that's what it's definitely doing. But people do talk about hearing wood knocking when they're out in the forest. Now, I know that chimpanzees and other primates do hit trees, and they do that to kind of notify each other where they're at. I know primates use rocks, beating rocks together, and they do that kind of as a not necessarily a defense mechanism, but trying to ward off predators such as big cats that might try to eat them for lunch. They beat on their chests, and that may be perceived as doing as a wood knock. And they also do something called jaw popping or jaw knocking, where they make a knocking sound with their mouth, a popping sound, and that might be what people are hearing. As far as I know, and I've been doing this for a long time, I don't know if any cases of someone actually seeing a Bigfoot taking a stick and hitting it against a tree.
During the course of research, whether it's part of the research that you've done or any of the other researchers out there, have they come across what Bigfoot would consider a home?
Again, speculatorily speaking, yeah, people have claimed they found nests out in the forest, large bedding areas or nests that they believe are Bigfoot related. I've seen some large bedding areas in the forest myself, big oval-shaped bedding areas that measure 8 foot long, 7-8 foot wide, and it appear that a large animal is bedded down for a night there. There are researchers who speculate that Bigfoot uses caves as temporary shelters, where they go in and spend a few days or a few weeks in a cave to get away from the elements of the weather. I don't believe there's ever been any cases where there have been any kind of proof found in a cave that a Bigfoot's been residing there, other than a few cases I've heard of over the years where tracks have been found leading into or leading out of or around the mouth of a cave. So that's the best answer I could give as far as a home structure or home base.
Is Bigfoot also sought by researchers in the wintertime as well as during the nicer weather of the summer?
Yeah, there are researchers who research and investigate cases and claims that are out there all year round. I don't know too many that go out during the winter, but I know that there are some that do. I'm out there. I've been out there in feet of snow and negative 0 degree temperatures, and you have to be out there all year long. You have to be willing to make that sacrifice because these creatures are still moving around. It's not like they go on vacation and go to the Bahamas for the winter. They're still out there moving around, foraging for food, and that's what we have to be doing, is out there looking for signs of that, signs of them moving around, their footprints, anything we can find.
Is it easier in the summer or easier in the winter?
Comfort-wise, it's easier in the summer months than it is the winter, but it's easier to find footprints in the winter months because hopefully if there's snow on the ground, you can track animals a lot easier with snow on the ground.
Right.
And there's not as much foliage on the trees, so your visibility is a lot better in the winter months than it is in the summer or spring or early fall. You can see a lot better, and sound travels a lot better in the late fall through winter, early spring months because those leaves haven't grown back on the trees.
What type of tools or equipment do Bigfoot researchers use in their quest to find Bigfoot?
I think it's become personal preference with a lot of researchers. The standard tools that I particularly use are a video camera or a digital camera, something preferably with a zoom lens on it. So if I do see something at a distance, I could take a good picture of it. I take a thermal FLIR monocular with me out in the woods to especially use at night. If I'm out researching, it detects heat signatures, and I can tell if an animal is large or small, or if there is something truly there based on a heat signature. I do take night vision with me when I go out at night. That gives me the ability to see in darkness by using the ambient light provided from the stars and the moon. I use measuring tape. That's a key tool that I recommend every researcher uses, a measuring tape, because if you do find tracks, you want to make sure you take measurements. Notepad and pencil or pen to write down everything that you find. Take a lot of notes because you write down all the details, because the slightest detail you leave out might be something significant and valuable to your research. And again, it's all personal preference. It's what the researcher will feel most comfortable taking out. But I say take anything with you that will allow you to document and record what you're seeing, hearing, and finding out in the forests.
What is the most common sighting of Bigfoot that you have heard?
That would have to be road crossings, Rob, where somebody is driving, whether it's daylight or nighttime, down a road. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in a heavily forested area. It could be, driving down the road on a highway and there's some forest patches on both sides, and have a creature that comes out to the side of the road and either continues walking down the side of the road or crosses the road in front of a vehicle. That seems to be the most commonly reported case, where the creature takes 2 to 3 large strides across the road and disappears on the other side of the road.
Where in the United States would you say is the most heavily sighted area where these Bigfoot are being sighted, not only by researchers but also by the public?
Surprisingly, I would have to say Washington State would be the number one state as far as sightings are concerned for the United States. But there are hot spots all across the country that continue to have eyewitness testimony coming forward, encounters, sightings, track discoveries. I know here in the East Coast, Pennsylvania, from where I'm from, we continue to get sighting reports every year up and down the Appalachian Mountain Range on the East Coast, even into, as I mentioned earlier, Texas, Fouke, Arkansas, the northeast and southeast part of Texas, Louisiana, up into Oklahoma, all over the country, Rob. There's sightings that still go on to this day.
And do the sightings or the description of the Bigfoot vary, or is it consistent?
It depends on the region. From what I've learned, in the Pacific Northwest, these creatures are said to be much broader shouldered, massive in size, a huge girth, and very intimidating when folks see them, as compared to the East Coast, where they appear to be thinner, leaner, not as tall as in the Pacific Northwest. And in the South, they're said to be anywhere from 6 to 7 foot tall, have a more leaner build to them, but also be covered more in hair. Surprisingly, you'd be surprised. You'd think with the warmer temperatures they wouldn't, but they seem to be reported in the South with more hair on their bodies.
Eric, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our final break. And Exonation, if you'd like to learn more about our guest this hour, his website is www.ericaltman.net. And we'll be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, you can always get the current edition of the X Chronicles newspaper online. You can download it. You can read it online with our compliments at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back. Don't go away. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Eric Altman is my special guest this hour, www.ericaltman.net. Don't forget the X Chronicles newspaper is available, and in this edition, this is the March 2019 edition, we focus on conspiracies, conspiracy theories, and conspiracy theorists. And while we were on the break, and I was just, getting ready to, once again, promote the newspaper, it dawned on me that there are no conspiracy theories when it comes to Bigfoot. Not that I'm aware of. How about you, Eric?
It depends on what angle you want to take that. The conspiracy theory that the government knows that Bigfoot exists and is hiding information to protect the forestry service and logging industry. There's conspiracy theories, of course, out there that Bigfoot is interdimensional and our government's hiding it because they don't want us to learn this technology. There's so many different weird theories out there when it comes to Bigfoot.
I guess it's a matter of how serious you want to take anything, I would imagine, right?
Right.
Why is it that with all the people like yourself, Lauren Coleman, M.K. Davis, and Robert Morgan, and everyone else who was involved in this, and even Lloyd Pye, rest his soul, was into Bigfoot. Why still no evidence? This boggles my imagination.
Yeah, it does mine as well. You would think we've been actively researching this subject matter going back almost 60, 70 years now. John Green was researching in the 50s, and Robert Morgan in the 70s, and Lauren Coleman in the 60s and 70s. Yeah. He's still doing it today. And so many researchers over the years have come and gone, and we've lost John, we've lost Renee DeHinden, Grover Krantz, some of the pioneers in research, and then we've never come forward with full conclusive evidence. But that doesn't really take away the mystique of the subject matter. I've come to the conclusion, Rob, over the years that Bigfoot may not exist. However, the phenomenon exists.
That's right.
The phenomenon is real because people are seeing something. Mm-hmm. We're discovering tracks. There's sightings going on globally. So there's something to the phenomenon. And that's what really makes it a great mystery that I continue to investigate. There's something causing the phenomenon to continue hundreds of years.
I remember many, many years ago, we're in our 30th year, so I guess it would be about 28 years ago, the first time I had Lloyd Pye on the show. Back then, he was talking about Bigfoot, not Star Child, but Bigfoot. And he was telling us that in Russia, in the mines in the northern parts of Russia, they used to have Bigfoot that used to work with the miners, and the miners would have sex with these Bigfoot creatures. And is it possible?
I've heard historical accounts of Russian soldiers encountering Bigfoot or the Almas or Almasty.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were having sex with the Bigfoots. That's a little far-reaching for me.
Well, listen, that may be far-reaching, but I actually had a guy on the show who worked at a marina, marine land type of thing, who came on air and told everybody that he had had sex with the dolphins.
Well, to each their own, I guess.
Wow, something fishy about that story.
I think so.
Yeah, but no, he was dead serious. And so, if people... We know for a fact people have, humans have sex with animals. We know that. Mm. So is it such a far stretch to imagine that Bigfoot was actually used as a part of a workforce? And is it also impossible then to say, well, people who have reported that other people have had sex with Bigfoot, well, that's just ludicrous?
It's hard to answer that question. Possible? I guess anything is possible. Yeah. Probable? I would say probably not, but who knows? Like you said, there's all kinds of people with different tastes and different lifestyles, so maybe there were that situation going on in Russia back then. I honestly don't know.
All right, let's talk about something that's very close to your heart, the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Camping Adventure that's coming up this year.
Yes, for the past, since 1999, I've been organizing and hosting various Bigfoot conferences and events, particularly the East Coast Bigfoot Conference from 1999 all the way up to 2011, where I co-organized an event with MUFON. And the last 3 years, I put together an outdoor Bigfoot festival, a charity fundraiser called the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Camping Adventure. This one that's upcoming in May and early June, May 31st, June 1st, and June 2nd, is the third event that I'm hosting and organizing. And what we're trying to do, we want to get folks out into the field with researchers so they can hear researchers who've done actual field research and learn, provide workshops for them to get their hands on and learn how to make a plaster cast or make a proper recording or use the equipment correctly. And it's a way to get people who have an interest in the subject, get them out there and get some knowledge about the subject, get their hands dirty, if you will, and try to get them some experience from researchers who have a variety of different opinions. At the event this year, we've got some fantastic guest speakers like Rosemary Ellen Guiley's coming in, for example. Stan Gordon will be there. Some of the guest celebrities, we have Dr. Jeff Meldrum, anthropologist from Idaho State. So we're trying to give a well-rounded view of the subject matter for the public coming in so they can better understand the subject matter and realize that, yes, there are people taking this seriously and there are people trying to solve the mystery. And also we're trying to help raise some money for some local charities too. So we're giving back to the community as well by hosting the event. So it is coming up May 31st, June 1st, and June 2nd, as I said. We still have about 50 tickets left before the event's sold out, which I'm very happy to announce. They've been selling really quickly, and we've had quite an interest in it. And it's going to be a fun time for the whole family. Folks can bring their kids out. We'll have celebrities from several Bigfoot TV shows like Finding Bigfoot and the Mountain Monsters Show. And as I mentioned, Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Our good friend Stan Gordon will be there, David Weatherly, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, just to name a few that'll be at the event. And our good friend Sean Forker, if you remember Sean, he'll be at the event as well. And we're looking forward to hosting it. We're looking forward to having a great time and helping out some local charities and teaching people about Bigfoot so they can get out from in front of their TVs, their laptops, their tablets, come out in nature and learn what we do and maybe change some people's lives, get them interested in onto the subject matter.
And I understand that the website is pabigfootcampingadventure.com.
Correct. Yes, it is. It's up and running right now.
Okay, great. I have to ask you this question. You and I were talking earlier about the connection between UFOs and Bigfoot. And you said based on your experience, there is none. And yet you had an event with MUFON.
Yeah, in 2011.
Hello? Explain this to me.
John Ventry was the head of MUFON, the state director of MUFON in Pennsylvania at that time.
Oh, good. They finally got rid of him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you remember that big fiasco where he said the reason that they'll never find MH370 was because it was taken by the aliens?
Yes, I remember that quite well. But he approached me about holding a joint event because he'd attended some of my Bigfoot conferences as a vendor and was quite impressed with the attendance we had and thought if we pulled resources of bringing one day as a Bigfoot event and one day as a UFO event, we might draw a larger crowd, from both interested parties. And we did that. We got together. My Bigfoot day was on Sunday. We had speakers specifically talking about Bigfoot, and they weren't actually interrelated related. They weren't intertwined. It was a UFO Bigfoot event, but one day was separate with the UFOs and the alien encounters and abductions. And the Sunday day that I did was strictly Bigfoot.
We've got about a minute and a half left. What is the most common question you get asked at these events?
Why did I get involved in this? After all the years I've been researching and studying this phenomenon, why am I still involved with it? Why do I continue to go out in the field? And I think I answered that earlier. It's just the interest in the mystery of it. I may, in my lifetime, never find enough proof or see proof that Bigfoot is real and it does exist, but it's a great mystery, and one that I don't think will be solved in my lifetime, but one that intrigues me enough to continue to research it, talk to the witnesses, and it's a great way to get out there and enjoy Mother Nature, the wilderness, the animals, and really just learn more about our planet.
Eric, as always, great talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us. And, keep in touch with us and let us know. We'll have you back on the show before your event and then after, and share it with us, would you?
I'd be happy to. Thank you for asking. And, Rob, it's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. We have great conversations, and you always ask great questions.
Thank you very much, Eric. Take care of yourself, and the next time you're talking to Sean, give him my best.
I will do that.
Exo Nation, a good friend of mine, Eric Altman, www.ericaltman.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as the X Zone continues right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Simul TV, and around the world on Globecast, Jungo TV, iLunch throughout the United States, and Comcast in the United States. I'm Rob McConnell. Don't go away. If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.